Hello, I am Mac, at least for a day, and everything's going to be okay. We've just had the huge announcement of what is in the synthesis update for No Man's Sky. It is so huge. It is way more than I expected, because I was expecting, my guess was worst case scenario, synthesis meant improvement to Quicksilver synthesis. And then best case scenario, I thought it was just some changes to crafting. And then the possibility I thought of that I didn't think there was any way it was going to happen was ship customization, because players have been asking for ship customization since the beginning of No Man's Sky. People have always been asking for that, along with a lot of other things that we've already gotten. But ship customization was one thing that people have always asked for that we never got, and we're finally getting it. It's not exactly what some people wanted for ship customization, but it is much closer to actually having ship customization. I'm going to go through all of the big points that Sean Murray tweeted and put on the No Man's Sky website. I won't be going through every single thing because there's there's around 300 changes to the game, or 300 bug fixes as well. But first of all, ship customization, as I'm going to call it, they don't call it that, I don't think. They just, in the new patch notes it says, visit the Starship outfitting terminal at a space station to add inventory slots to your favorite starship, or spend nanites to upgrade its class. You can also, we'll do that part next. But, so a lot of people are probably going to be unhappy that we're not going to be able to like change the parts on the outside of our ship, like change its appearance or color, because that doesn't say anything about that. It doesn't say we can change an existing ship's parts or color. But basically what you can do is you can go out and find a ship that you really like, a ship who has really good appearance, and then you can upgrade it to max slots and max class and all that. And that is pretty much what I've always wanted, because it used to be that if you looked hard enough, you could find a max slot ship of pretty much any type of ship, any appearance of ship. But more recently, I think maybe it was in the Atlas Rises update, they made it so that certain appearances of ship were always the ones that had max slots. So that messed up. Here, let me see if I can call. I don't even know if I have I don't think I have a max slot fighter, do I? No, my fighter's not max slot. But let's I'm going to pull out my fighter for an example. This isn't what a max slot fighter looks like, but let's say it was. Let's say that I've got some kind of bug where all of my ships are black right now. I don't know what that's all about. It might be the planet that I'm on. But anyway, let's say that all max slot fighter ships looked like that. They actually look different than this one, because this is not max size. But there is a type of fighter ship, and that is the only type of fighter ship that is max slots. So basically you were stuck with an exact model of fighter ship if you wanted to have max slots. But now what's going to happen is we're going to be able to get any type of ship that we want, and then upgrade it to max slots and max rank. So that is totally awesome. So there's a different type of ship that I used to have back in the day. You could actually see it on my Twitter. On my Twitter profile, if you go there, you can see my dream ship. It was the ship that I liked best. And back in the day, like in the Foundation and Pathfinder era, I searched for that ship in max slots, and I finally found that ship. the best that it could be, and bought it, and that was my dream ship, and I loved it. But then Atlas Rises happened, I believe, and then that ship became obsolete because they added ship classes. So suddenly it was C class, and although it had max slots, in fact, it wasn't even possible for fighters to have as many slots that it had anymore. So anyway, what's going to be possible now is I'll be able to go out, find that model of ship, since I still really like that model of fighter ship. It doesn't look like this. It looks way better than this. I'll be able to find that fighter ship, upgrade it. I believe it's going to be in the space anomaly, the Nexus, whatever you want to call it. I'll be able to upgrade it using, I think, money and nanites, because it said that you can add inventory slots. It doesn't say what it costs to add inventory slots, but it should be money, the same as when we upgrade our exosuit. But and then it takes nanites to upgrade the class. I don't think they would make us use Quicksilver to increase the inventory slots, so I'm pretty sure it's units, it's money for inventory slots. So anyway, that's going to be something I'm definitely going to do. I'm going to go find my dream ship again after all these years, buy my dream ship, my favorite looking fighter Starship, and then I'm going to upgrade it to max slots and rank. And that will be totally awesome. I can finally stop having ugly ships just because they have good slots. And that is good enough for me as far as ship customization. Other people are going to want to be able to just change the appearance and color of any ship, but I think it's better this way, that we still have to go out and find a ship, because the game is all about exploration. We're going to go out, explore, find our favorite looking ship, and then upgrade it to the best that it can be. But moving on, we can also salvage unwanted ships for scrap. So that is going to be really cool, because for a long time now, finding crashed ships has been mostly useless, unless you were able to find a ship you really want crashed. There wasn't much point anymore. There used to be. It used to be people would literally salvage crashed ships. They would find a crashed ship, fix it up, and then destroy all the upgrades inside of it, and they would get a bunch of resources from it. They changed it so that instead of, crash ships have almost no technology in them, and now they're like really broken. They have broken slots and everything. And so the only thing that was useful about them, because it cost you a whole bunch of money to fix them up, only thing useful about them was if you bought it and then you took it and immediately traded in for another ship. So you basically got some trade-in value to get another ship. Otherwise, unless it was a ship you really wanted, it was a waste of money to fix up crashed ships. But now you can go find a crashed ship, take it to the space anomaly, and then scrap it, and it will give you a bunch of units, resources, and upgrade modules for ships. So that is really awesome. You can literally, if you want, you could play all of No Man's Sky as a ship scrapper. You could search for crashed ships, scrap it, and you can make all your money that way. It won't be the fastest way to make money, but if you want to be a salvager, that could be a new thing you could do in No Man's Sky, and that, I think, is really cool. And also, well, yeah, you can scrap ships, so if there's a ship you have that you don't want anymore, you can also get rid of it, and that will give you another slot, since you can only have 6 ships, and you'll be able to get a new ship with that slot instead of trading the ship in or whatever. Next is the terrain manipulator. So right now, the terrain manipulator is fairly limited. There are some different modes. You can change the size, and you can kind of change the texture of the stuff that you make, but it's still pretty limited. You can basically just make squares and circles and stuff like that, but they're going to change it and add new options to the terrain manipulator. And really cool thing is you'll also be able to restore land back to the way it was before, like basically regenerate it. If you decide you don't want the ugly stuff you sculpted, you can just get rid of it, delete the terrain edit, and it'll go back to the way it's supposed to be. Or you can use a new flatten mode where you can make flat land for like building on, which is really good. That's going to be really good for base building when you want to build something but the terrain is not flat. You can make it flat. And then to go with that, they're also increasing the amount that you can edit terrain around your base and it will be saved. Like right now you can do some terrain edits, but it's super limited. People have told me that you can do almost no terrain edits before you run out of file space for your base or whatever it is. But they're increasing that so that we can now do more terrain edits and it will be saved at our base. Next is we can save custom outfits in the appearance modifier. That's really cool. So if I like my brain guy here, I can save that appearance and then switch to something else. And if I want to go back, I won't have to enter in all the settings for him again. I can just switch back to this appearance some other time. So I'll probably make a bunch of different appearances, like the Shrek appearance that I did a video about a while back. And then when we get the Groot head, I'll have like a Groot appearance that I can switch to whenever I want. So you'll basically have several different costumes that you can switch your character to without having to change all the settings around. Really big thing is first person in the Exocraft in all modes. So non-VR mode, we will finally be able to be first person in. Like right now, obviously the update hasn't happened yet at the recording of this video. There's no way to switch to third person mode. All I can do is recharge, use the signal or photo mode in non-VR. But when the synthesis update hits, in non-VR mode, we'll be able to get in our vehicle and switch to first-person mode, and we'll be able to see inside of our vehicles even though we're not in VR. That is really awesome. A lot of people were really upset when Beyond hit that the new interiors to vehicles weren't accessible in non-VR mode, but they're finally fixing that. Photo mode and creature writing is going to be available in VR, so that's kind of the opposite of that. They're basically making it so that everything is the same with VR and non-VR mode. So even though when the Beyond update came out, they said you'd be able to do everything the same in VR mode as you can in the main game, there were some things that were not accessible. They're finally fixing a lot of those things, including photo mode and creature writing, which were not available in VR. So that's going to be great. I can't wait to have photo mode, which I said all along that it would have been really easy for them to make photo mode. All they have to do is make the player be the camera when you're in photo mode, and you could fly around in VR. And then creature writing, I still kind of think creature writing is kind of pointless, but it'll be nice to finally get to do it in VR, because I was never able to try that out when I did my VR playthrough. Next, improved Starship space map. I'll show you what that is. It's not talking about the galactic map. It's talking about the thing that I call the radar. And actually you can't see it right now. You have to be in space. I'm going to show you what it is. So yeah, it's right there. So that circle right there that just appeared, that is the Starship space map. I call it the radar. And actually, I think it was before Beyond, the radar didn't even work half the time. Like, planets wouldn't even appear most of the time. You just had to get lucky, and occasionally the planets would appear. But thankfully, since Beyond, they made it so that the radar always works. But now in the synthesis update, they're going to improve it so that it shows more stuff. Like right now, I think it just shows fleets of freighters and planets. That might still be the case, but I think they're changing the icons and making it easier to see. There was a visual on the patch notes that you should look at, and I'll link the patch notes in a pinned comment like I usually do. But basically the icons will be changing and it will be kind of better looking. So improvements to that, the radar as I call it. Next, let's see. Various improvements like icons on planetary charts. That was something I complained about a lot. The new planetary charts that you can get in the space station, there were different kinds, but they all looked exactly the same. So you didn't know what they did until you used them. You would have like 4 or 5 separate stacks of planetary charts that wouldn't stack together because they were different kinds, but there was no difference between their appearance or description. But now they're going to make it so that they actually have icons on them, and you can buy them separately. So when you go to the space station and talk to the guy that sells the planetary charts, instead of just asking for planetary charts and getting a bunch of them, now it'll actually be a shop screen where you can choose which charts you want to buy, and the icons on them will tell you what type of building they give. And that is so good because finally I'll be able to get all the product recipes from manufacturing facilities. So instead of buying a bunch of planetary charts for buildings I don't need, I can just buy planetary charts for manufacturing facilities, do a whole bunch of those, and get all the product recipes. By the way, I am going to be doing a new series of No Man's Sky because of this update. When I first heard the synthesis update, I thought it was going to be a tiny nothing update, but these improvements are big enough now that I will be doing a new live stream series, and I'll be getting all the product recipes, getting my dream ship, etc., doing all these new things with the synthesis updates. So this has definitely renewed my fervor to play No Man's Sky more. So yeah, that is really good. Planetary charts, and then the pulse drive is going to be faster, and we'll be able to ride creatures by just feeding them basic bait. So the special cooked bait will just be used to get the quote-unquote milk from creatures, but riding them will be possible by just feeding them the basic pellets, which is awesome because it was annoying that creature riding was so difficult to get. You had to learn how to cook stuff and everything before you could even try it out. New technology upgrades that give us new abilities, like the ability to transfer items out of our freighter, which is great. It's annoying to have to go to your freighter anytime you want to get anything out of it. Midair jetpack recharge. So right now, if you take your jetpack really high, as soon as you run out of jetpack, you'll fall. I'll just show you. I'll take the damage. You'll fall. And the whole time that I'm falling, my jetpack doesn't recharge at all. If it did recharge a little bit, I could use it to break my fall at the end and I wouldn't take damage. But because of the way it is right now, the jetpack won't recharge at all when you're mid-air. So they're adding a new upgrade that you'll be able to make your jetpack recharge a little bit while you're in mid-air. So even if you completely run out of jetpack, you'll have enough of it to break your fall before you hit the ground, which is good. And another ability was instant emergency warping. So I guess, not sure what that'll be, but I guess it's like when you're in combat or about to be in combat, you'll be able to warp. Because already, if you're not in combat yet, if you're about to be in combat, you can warp out before the pirates appear. But I guess this will be an upgrade that allow you to warp away when you're in combat. I guess. I'm not sure. But that's just what it said. Instant emergency warping. Next is triangular base parts. So right now, problem I've had with bases is either we've got these pre-made circular things, or we've got boxes. That's pretty much all we have. Well, this is kind of rectangular. but those were our only two choices for shapes of base, was circular rooms stacked together and rectangular or cuboid things. But now we're going to have triangular base building parts, and that'll be cool because once you have triangles, you can make pretty much any shape. Like you can use triangles to make a hexagon, etc. You can make lots of different patterns with triangles. So that'll open up a lot more creativity with base building, having triangular parts. Next is they fixed the discovery page, so we're finally going to have the upload all button back. Upload all button, I think, is still available sometimes in non-VR, but then again, I don't think so. No, right now I can't use it at all still. So I think the upload all button has been not working for anybody. I don't think the upload all button's even there in VR. So they're going to finally fix it, and it should be the same for VR and non-VR. We're finally going to have the upload all button again. And also they're improving other things in the discovery. The way it was on there was, it's almost like a mini map where it shows your location on like these. Here, there's like a little visual representation of a planet, and it showed a little marker for your location on these. It's like a "you are here" marker. That's not going to help a lot because these little 2D images of the planet don't really tell you much, but it will give you kind of an idea of where you are in relation to other things. So if these maps will show your base, it'll show you kind of how far you are from your base or how far you are from other players on the planet. I don't know how useful it's going to be, but it looks kind of cool, and it's kind of an improvement. People have often asked for a mini map for planets in No Man's Sky, and that might be the first step to something like that. And also a really cool thing is they're adding, let me find have I discovered any creatures? Here we go. They're adding, oh, so these, oh, I never even noticed these notes before. I thought these notes were the new thing. They said they're adding new information to creatures, but it looks like there's already some information like that. Found wandering the fevered, dreamlike landscape of planet blah blah blah. So apparently these procedural descriptions are already in the game. So I'm not sure what that part was referring to. I thought that was the new thing they were adding. But anyway, they're doing some more, they're adding some new information to different things on the discovery map. Next is base storage will be larger and nameable. So those big boxes that we can build, here I'll just show it for visual sake. Let's see, it's under technology? General, yeah, I think. No. Storage, here we go. So these things will finally be able to, they'll have more inventory space. I'm just going to build it. Oh darn, I can't use it without power. Never mind. But you know they only have 5 slots right now. So I guess they're increasing the number of slots, and they're making it so you can name them. So instead of it being storage box number 0, it'll have a name on it, which I'm not sure how that'll help. Maybe the name will actually appear on it, or maybe, you know, instead of saying storage container, it'll say basic elements or whatever you name it to help you know what is inside each of them. So that's pretty cool. A lot of people have been complaining that now that we have so much inventory space in our exosuit, it's pointless to have these base storage that have way little storage on them. So it's good that they're increasing that. Next is refining elements in the exosuit. So instead of having, well, we may still have the refineries that you can build on the ground. I hope so, because that will allow us to have more than one going at the same time, which we currently have. So I don't think they're going to take away the portable refiner, but now somewhere on our exosuit, maybe over here, there's going to be a little refinery that we can refine things in our exosuit while also refining them with the built refiners. So that's really good. So when you're out traveling, you won't need a portable refiner to build all the time unless you want to, refine a bunch of stuff at once. Then you'll have to build multiple refiners. Next is, the best one. Well, not the best one. Ship customization might be the best one, but the second best one is multiple multi-tools. I've wanted this for so long. I don't know why they took so long to add it, but it's even better than I thought they were going to do it. We're finally going to have multiple multi-tools. I had always thought that they would do it by having like a weapon rack at our base, and the only way you could get a different multi-tool out would be to go to your base, interact with the weapon rack, and get a different weapon out, but they're making it so you can just switch on the fly anytime you want. So just like how we can call our Starship, and I showed this just a little bit ago, but we can call different starships. We can just go to select another ship. We can call any of our ships. It's going to be like that with the multi-tool. We'll be able to pick a multi-tool and we'll automatically switch to a different multi-tool. So that is awesome because different types of multi-tools have different strengths. Like pistols, although they have very few slots, which would be nice if they would, make it so that we could increase the slots like what they're going to add to ships. That might be something to ask for in the future. But pistols, I think, are best at mining, I want to say. And then rifles have the best damage. Well, not the best, but pistols have good mining. Rifles have good damage. Experimental have good scanner and mining. And then alien multi-tool is like the best damage one. So it was kind of dumb to have different strengths and different multi-tools, but you could only have one of them. So people usually got either experimental or alien, whichever one they preferred or whichever one they could find, because those two were basically the best. And then pistols and rifles are just the not so good ones that you get if you can't find alien or experimental. But now we'll be able to have each of them. So you could have a pistol that you've souped up to be the very best at mining, and then you could have a rifle for damage, and then experimental just for scanning, and then if you're lucky enough to find an alien multi-tool, you just use that one for damage instead of the rifle. But anyway, it'll be nice to finally have more than one type of multi-tool, because we have so many different weapon modes, and although you can switch between them, you also will run out of space. You won't be able to have all of them. So I've got the pulse spitter, and I could get all the upgrades for pulse spitter and maybe also the blaze javelin and the shotgun one, whatever it's called, but eventually I'd run out of space and I wouldn't be able to have mining upgrades. So right now we're forced to choose pretty much one weapon mode, then mining beam upgrades and scanning upgrades. But now, when they add multiple multi-tools, you can have a multi-tool just for scanning, a multi-tool, and it will have all the best upgrades for scanning, a multi-tool just for mining, and all the best upgrades for that. Then your damage multi-tool could have all three of the weapons, pulse spitter, blaze javelin, and whatever the shotgun one is. And you wouldn't have to worry about putting any scanning or mining into it, because you want to have just damage on that one. So anyway, I love that. I love multiple multi-tools. All right, and last of all, I already mentioned it, there's nearly 300 other bug fixes. So they're finally fixing lots and lots of bugs. Although I'm scared, since this is such a big update, they're probably going to end up making new bugs like they always do. But, oh well, here's hoping we won't have a bunch of new bugs with this update. Because this update looks like it's going to be almost as big as the Foundation update, but definitely at least as big as Pathfinder, Abyss, or Visions. This is definitely one of the bigger named updates. Not as big as Atlas Rises or Next, or even Beyond, but it's definitely one of the named updates. Not the biggest, but the number of improvements and how much it's going to make me want to play the game again. This is one of the bigger updates, and I'm really happy about it. So we don't know when it's going to be, but I really think since he's released the patch notes, it's just going to be tomorrow, which is Thanksgiving in America, which is actually exactly when the Visions update came out last year. So it looks like they're synchronizing this with the Visions update from a year ago. It's the exact same day. So unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have released the patch notes if the update wasn't coming tomorrow. So look tomorrow for the update. Although I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be tomorrow. So anyway, that's about it. I've rambled on long enough. Lots of exciting new features, the biggest of which being ship customization and multiple multi-tools, and then lots of other various improvements. So that is about it. And I will see you all on the other side of the synthesis update. I have been Mac. Thank you for joining me for a day. And remember, everything is going to be okay.